Well, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for FACE's C2 Leadership Institute graduation. It's a very exciting day. At this time, I would like to invite Hapen Im, President and CEO of FACE, to give welcome and introductions to the C2 Leadership Institute.
Thank you, Veronica. We are honored to have you serve as our co-MC. I just want to say welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for showing up and being part of this great and happy, joyous moment to celebrate and congratulate our C2 Leadership Institute graduates. Just real quickly, we're going to be introducing an overview of our experience with our C2 graduates and their reflection during some of our class time. But again, we just had a wealth of speakers who were able to be very generous with their time and expertise. As a pastor's kid, I saw my parents in ministry and they were preaching the gospel, saving souls, but they also ended up becoming really unpaid social workers. And I saw their struggle and I always thought, could there be a better way? And I grew up with the First AME Church. I saw them really partner with the broader community, and that made the world of a difference in terms of their impact. Their offering was $3 million. They brought in additional $12 million. But more importantly, the partners now had a vested interest in the church's success, and the church's reputation grew as they lauded the work of the church. God got honored, people got helped, people got paid, and at the same time, the community just grew and was transformed. And that is really the vision of C2: maximum impact, maximum sustainability, maximum reach and witness. And so again, I thank our graduates who went through a very rigorous 19-week event. They had to do a pitch, a brochure, a PowerPoint. They had to go and meet with elected officials and with the media, and just a lot of homework. But I'm very proud and grateful for each of our graduates who have done so much. And with that, let's do a short video of their experience. The C2 Leadership Institute is about cultivating leaders at the intersection of church and community. Many faith leaders as first responders are doing great work, but don't have the tools, resources, or mentors to tap into the power of partnerships and sustain their efforts. The C2 Leadership Institute provides such resources. When faith leaders are fully equipped and can shine their light, the possibilities of their impact are boundless.
So trying to find ways to organize our time to get the work done, even though they're very committed to it, has been hard. So I think one of my big jobs is to figure out who our community partners are.
I just am so grateful for this opportunity. I was very encouraged when I left all the voice messages and emails to all the just stakeholders and, community leaders. And I got a lot of return calls. And
what a great day. Right? I mean, here we are, we're all a little anxious, we're all a little, on the edge of our seats, and we hear about our youth and Mona Lisa's passion, and I hope you feel that connection and that love.
Just to make sure that I'm thinking and recognizing the power, and, if we get busy organizing, how much power we can have.
We need to know exactly what our purpose is going in, what success looks like coming out of there. I need to be pretty hyper-focused when I get that moment.
More importantly, thinking through some of the tax stuff around 501c3s is helpful, and kind of for-profit / nonprofit ventures to help drive revenue is something that we've been discussing.
The one that stuck out to me, and like you said, is my 1-minute pitch. How it's been too long, and I'm still refining it. Because when he said that somebody whispered in his ear in the elevator, that's all I could think about. Like, oh, it really does happen. We can have a moment in an elevator.
Getting to know your elected official, your city council person before you meet with them, their children, their passion projects, their values, some stories and some narratives walking in, how that helps to build a relationship.
This is a hard job, the ones that the supervisor have, but it's also a place that even I don't like it, I would like to be seated there to have the opportunity. It reminded me all the in these movies that you see all the judges hearing the people.
And our supervisor.
Yeah.
Relationships are foundational to the funding, and that usually takes time.
I'm sure I'm not the only one thinking this, right? We weren't trained at seminary to do some of this stuff that, we're hoping to do to expand our reach as a church. And so just every week I'm thinking, where's the support? But I guess that's where all of you come in.
This webinar was helpful in being reminded of that important work to have a greater reach than my local community or my local congregation.
The projects that we were working on, because she heard them, because she was listening to us. And I think that was really important and reassuring as a pastor that I can still use that relationship building tactic while also, speaking the language that I need to speak to get my foot in the door.
And I appreciate that. And that's what I really got out of the excitement of just starting to get a sense that the new possibilities of shifting the narrative.
Of not thinking that it needs to be Pastor Inc., but that one of the ways that we can really actually do the work that God has called us to do and to listen for the voice of God is to listen for the voice of God through the people who have found their way to our church.
Everything that we've gone over today has reinforced everything I'm going to be working on this month with my congregation. Some of you are doing this too, especially after nominations and church conferences, right? We're recreating this culture for leadership and accountability.
All right, at this time, we would like to now introduce Bishop Grant Hagia. Bishop Hagia is the resident bishop for the California Pacific Conference of the United Methodist Church and a faithful friend to Face. We're grateful for his wholehearted support for C2 Leadership Institute. Take it away, Bishop Hagia.
Thanks, Veronica. Well, I first want to congratulate all of our graduates. It's been a long haul. When we were designing this program with HIPN, I thought 19 weeks, we're going to lose some of you, but you all made it. And that's even with Hawaii folks getting up at 6 a.m. in order to be involved. Second, I want to thank HIPN. It's only possible through her really skills, her influence, her connecting that made this possible. So kudos to her. She spent inordinate amount of time working with you all. Personal interviews, which took forever, I'm sure, but all of the design and the program, we are thankful for her. And just a quick word of how this came about. HIPN and I were connecting on some other matters, and this program came up. And it was a perfect match because we were looking for, in the conference, to develop some mission field engagement, community development programs, training programs. And we didn't have those. So you don't get that in seminary. She, on the other hand, was looking to connect to this program with the church base, which is her passion. And it was a match made in heaven because we put it together and we provided the eager clergy and she did the programming aspects. So from that standpoint, we are so excited and we're looking for this as a model for the future for us. This won't be the last cohort, for example. We've already talked about ways in which we can increase this. So again, congratulations and thank you for all of you who've been involved.
Thank you, Bishop Hagia.
All right, thank you so much, Bishop Hagia, for your words. Next, you're going to be hearing from our C2 fellows and the projects that they have been working tirelessly on in the span of time in the Institute. We're going to begin with Reverend Wansek Yu, who is the senior pastor of Harris UMC in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Aloha, my name is Wansek Yu, and it is a privilege to be with you together to celebrate this. For me, in my new appointment in this church over on the downtown side of Honolulu, the C2 Leadership Institute program came at a perfect timing. While I was working as vice chair of clergy for a nonprofit who works in legislation for equality and create a space to do that, I was trying to wrestle with how can I do that and make a space in the local church. And so comes this program, Hale Sela. What you see before you is a smash of two words that's both in Hawaiian and Hebrew. In Hawaiian, hale means space, and selah, we're still trying to figure out what it means, but it means to take a break, take a pause, to think about it. In Harris United Methodist Church, we have a vision statement: building a Christ-centered community by extending God's hospitality to one another and to our neighbors. And our mission statement to do that, to make a difference in our community and the world as we seek to follow Jesus Christ. Now, this guy, Jesus Christ, had this little quote that stuck with all of us: "For I was hungry and you gave me food." With that, we reflect on the poverty in Oahu, that we understand the households in the poverty line here, living below $50,000, it only will increase from here. And as we see from the students who are receiving free or reduced price meals, we're realizing that at least feeding food stability is so important. Currently, even in the midst of COVID, we've been doing feeding programs. One every week for 250, 300 meals through IHS, and another sandwich ministry with Next Step Keahau for 200 and 250 meals per month. We're feeding them constantly, and we realized that we had to rethink how we do this. We had to think fast. We have to think about how their food comes and how they have stability. We have to think about the arts and the ways that we receive and we reflect on what's going on in our community. We have to talk about how our society needs to change and shift. And especially recently with the COVID pandemic, we're realizing with technology and communication and talk, we need to do this process together. The needs of the community are hunger, isolation, and being overwhelmed. And we want to make sure that we feed hungry mouths, souls, and minds together as a community. And we're sending these invitations to our local farmers, our artists, and even our leaders who have influence and possibilities and resources to share. To create that space, we have the elementary school and middle school partners. We have the YMCA, IHS, Keauhou Shelter, Next Step Shelter, Faith Action for Community Equity, and Unite Here Local 5. So we ask you to join us as we are embarking on doing this digitally first before we come as a physical community. To check out the website or contact us by the email, call us, or whenever you come to Oahu. Come see us. Aloha.
Thank you so much. And we will now move on to Pastor Lisa Williams, who's the senior pastor of the San Pedro UMC in California.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Lisa Williams, and my father was a Methodist minister. And my mother would always say, "Now, Clyde, you stay low on the radar so the bishop doesn't know who you are and you won't get moved." Well, that's the model that I grew up with, stay low on the radar. My experience with C2 leadership has expanded my breadth of understanding around community engagement, working with funders, the importance of the ask, the 1-minute pitch, and the confidence to say that in 2019, I was Supervisor Janice Hahn's Woman of the Year, that I work with community stakeholders in our Chamber of Commerce. Being courageous and creative and connecting leaders and faith communities together are just some of the things that I have gained from this cohort. But I will admit to you that when Bishop Hagia asked me to be a part of this, I went, I don't have time for this. There's no way. But I am so incredibly grateful for the deep understanding of what it means to shine my light. Anybody who knows Haypen, this is her tagline: shine your light, Matthew 5:16. What I have come to realize is that I am not called to stay low under the radar. I am called to shine my light so that others may see my good works, so that I can be an instrument to inspire, ignite, and in shining my light is not something that I need to be embarrassed about, but rather it is what I'm being called to do.
Thank you, Pastor Lisa. Again, it's just impressive. Oh, I'm sorry, continue. Please.
So I am the pastor of the San Pedro United Methodist Church, and we were gifted a ½ acre of property years ago. And so we're living into our values through creating 54 affordable and permanent supportive housing units. And we began to then look around and see what our facility had to offer, what our assets could be, and how they could be aligned with our community. And according to the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank, 1 out of every 4 persons in LA County experiences food insecurity. This can create serious health issues. So during this pandemic, many folks have going to food bank pantries for the very first time and not knowing how to create healthy meals. So we've created an initiative. And this initiative is to partner with our health clinic across the street, our Toberman Neighborhood Center, who will be a distribution center for food, as well as our local chefs who are going to do virtual cooking lessons on what to do and how to do this with the tools that we are given right now. C2 Leadership inspired our church to not only do this initiative, but also to expand our relationship with Family Promise to become a respite center for 4 unhoused families at a time. It's all possible because of these partnerships that we've been able to create over time. And that's just one way in which we work together to show our neighbors how to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Lisa. And when I talk about shining your light, just the 2 presenters, you see the amazing work that they do, and yet a lot of times it's invisible to the broader community, and that is the direction. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. At this time, it's my honor to introduce our next speaker who will be bringing some congratulatory remarks, and that is our California State Treasurer, Fiona Ma. She is in charge of a $2 trillion budget. And recently she's been acknowledged as one of the most effective, cost-efficient state treasurer. And in addition, my understanding that I believe is her grandfather was also a pastor. And so again, if our state treasurer, Fiona Ma, please say a few words.
Thank you so much, Hypen, for all you do, all your leadership and your compassion and empathy, and especially bringing together all of these faith leaders together. Like you said, my grandfather encountered a missionary when he was in China, and he became a Presbyterian minister, traveled all over the place, ended up in Canada, where my mother and father met, and then they moved down to New York City because my grandfather was the pastor there. And so I have grown up with the church. I am an elder myself, and it's great to see all of the pastors and ministers here today. I'm gonna just veer a little bit from what I was gonna say, since you all are now like in my realm, my political realm. And as Pastor Lisa said, you all found your calling, serving people. I have found my calling, serving people. We all serve the same constituents. We are people oriented. We care about making sure the least amongst us are provided the same opportunities as those that are, a little bit more fortunate. And so I always say being a public servant is similar to being a minister, right? On call 24/7. You worry about all of the people in your world. And we do this for very little pay, right? This is not about money. This is not about glory. This is headlines, but we do this because it is and this is our calling. So I love the fact that you are now talking about politics, because you all are missing in the conversation when it comes to what's happening here at the state level, right? Every year when the budget is presented, when there's laws sponsored by legislators, we see all these advocacy groups come up to Sacramento and tell us what it is that they need, they want, they can't do without. But you all know what your constituents need and wants and the challenges they face directly. And so I would love to see you come up to Sacramento, get more involved with your local elected officials, with your school board members, right? You all have kids going to public schools, your legislators, your congressional folks, because that's how we are gonna change the dynamics and the funding priorities and who we are going to serve. And we are all trying to serve the least amongst us. So I thank all of you for participating in this program. And I will say, I've run, this is my 4th elected office. And so I'm always out in the community when I'm running. And the Irish pastors, they expect to see their politicians there, right? Shaking hands. They will recognize us when we come to their service. They want us to stand there after service, shake everybody's hand. They introduce us because they understand the connection between politics and, people. Now, when I go to my parents' church, Chinese church, a lot of the Asian churches, they go, we don't want to talk about politics. We don't want to combine, politics and religion, right? And when I come there, they almost have to like sneak me in. Like I have to sponsor a lunch for them to say, oh, my daughter is here sponsoring the lunch instead of my daughter is here representing us. We want to hear from you. So thank you for getting more involved. We need to hear your voices. So thank you, Hypen. Thank you for your program, your leadership, your cohorts, because you are doing God's work, directly dealing with God. So thank you all for allowing me to just say a couple words here.
Thank you, State Treasurer Fiona Ma. Your message is so timely, and I think for many of our pastors, they've kind of gone on some similar journeys. So, and I totally get about the Asian pastors too, so or Asian churchgoers, but we will get there someday. Thank you, thank you again. All right, and so with that, I am going to introduce two of our next graduates, and so the first is Pastor Gary Bernard Williams, who is the senior pastor of St. Mark United Methodist Church in Los Angeles. Pastor Gary.
All right. Thank you, Hypen. I want to just, first of all, I want to say how much I know we all appreciate you, your passion for this work and the knowledge that you poured into us, even on the weekends. You've met with me on several occasions. And so I'm just really, really grateful that the knowledge and the skills that I've gotten through the C2 Leadership Institute is going to help me to help my community in South Los Angeles to live healthier and happier lives. Thank you. I'll go to my PowerPoint. So there's over 1 million people in Los Angeles that are food insecure. 30% of them are children. And so we are a Manor House Food Security Network. It's a hub of food distribution, community garden. We're advocates for food justice, and we also do health and wellness seminars for the community. We have been doing this for the last 21 years in South Los Angeles, the heart of this food desert. Next slide. Today we not only do educational resources, but we also have created in our garden is a location, a spot for our community residents and also for our parishioners to gather, to be a part of serving our community and just being a part of watching what comes from the earth. Next slide. We produce a variety of fruit and vegetables that are distributed through our food pantry. Next slide. I'm excited about our meditation and reflection space that we are launching in June of this year. The meditations and reflection space will be a place for our community members and parishioners to deepen their connection and appreciation for the earth. Next slide, please. The African American community experiences a disproportionate higher rate of diagnosis of death from diabetes and hypertension. With that, that's why we provide these monthly health and wellness seminars to improve nutrition-related knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors in children, youth, and young adults in South Los Angeles. And finally, I'm also just grateful to have partners that have come alongside of us, that are helping us financially and through their skills. And so I invite you, if you are interested in partnering with us, I invite you to be in contact with us at the Food Security Network of St. Mark UMC. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Gary Williams. And now I would like to introduce Reverend John Wang, who is the pastor of Cornerstone UMC in Placentia.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm John, and I just want to say that I am grateful to be a part of the C2 Leadership Institute. I've learned so much about creating a community development corporation, learning how to speak to funders, how to get grants. And I really appreciate Hayden for all of her time and her effort and just helping me to become a better community developing type of pastor. So, and also grateful for all of my colleagues who I've gotten to know better, who are so amazing. And because of this institute, we're able to collaborate more and come together as United Methodist churches to do more good in this world with a greater reach. So with that, I'd like to share about the wonderful church that I get to serve and what we do. Here we go. I'm the pastor of Cornerstone United Methodist Church, and you can see our website there. We are a church that was founded over 43 years ago as an Asian American community in Orange County, serving Orange County and Los Angeles County residents. One of our missions as Cornerstone is the Community Blessings Initiative. We are called to be a blessing to our community, to our world, and we focus on low-income families through our fundraising, our event making. And I just want to share 2 events and future events that we are planning to do to continue to build up our community and to help low-income families and nonprofit organizations. One of our great events was the Trunk or Treat. We were able to gather over 300 attendees, and many members of our community come out. It's a safe place for children to receive candy, but also to gain valuable resources from the local community resources like the Placentia Police Department. They came and shared about their canine unit and what they do in our community, and bringing together the police force along with our neighbors. The Orange County Fire Department came and brought their big fire trucks and shared their resources about how they're helping our community. And we partner with the Boy Scouts of America, and they even created a booth to resource our neighbors about the Boy Scouts. And they've been a great partner for us. They've helped build fences around our church campus and expand sidewalks through their Eagle Scout projects. And we are just grateful to have the Boy Scouts as a part of our church. And these are some of our community partners. Another event that we had is the Spirit of Friendship Tea, which drew over 100 families. We were able to raise over $3,000 to help the Adopt a Family program during the Christmas time, and buy presents for them. And we're going to continue expanding this event because we're able to partner with these nonprofit leaders, Pathways of Hope, OC United, and the Friendly Center of Orange County. We raise funds to help these organizations to continue to help people in our community. Our upcoming event is a virtual tea party, expanding on the Spirit of Friendship Tea. There are so many children and families living below the poverty line in Orange County, and our events are to seek to relieve that burden. We're going to be mailing out packages of tea and cookies and try to create a raffle, and all this to fundraise for the Friendly Center. And because of the C2 Leadership Institute, we're learning how to reach out to new potential partners like Walmart and Starbucks, connecting with media, and continuing to reach out to our city council members in our area. If you would like to become a partner with us, we would love that. We would love to expand our reach and be a blessing in Orange County and LA County. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Wang. We would now like to introduce Reverend Dr. Alexia Salvatierra from the Fuller Theological Seminary for her congratulatory remarks. She recently spoke at the National Inaugural Prayer for President Joe Biden.
Well, it's been just wonderful to be with all of you, to hear your stories. I teach in the area of mission, of holistic mission. And I've also been doing it for 40 years. So I really celebrate and praise God for everything that I'm hearing. Because right now, and I think we all know this, that that the most public and the loudest sectors of the church in the United States have a very limited understanding of the gospel. That they really see the gospel as all about eternal life, only about eternal life, about saving our souls for heaven. And that message, as a limited message, is turning off a lot of young people. InterVarsity estimates that we're losing 1 million young people a year to the Christian faith. And that's a big number, right? But of course, the biblical gospel, the full gospel, is both eternal life and abundant life. And that's what you all are about, is that full gospel, that abundant life, that you are really creating shalom in your communities, and that the witness is echoing much on a much larger scale than you may even be aware of. As one of my own mentors would say, all the angels are applauding. So I just want you to I also just want to name and celebrate that you're really understanding stewardship. That stewardship is about using all the gifts that God has given us for his glory and for his mission. And that's what I hear you doing. And that's a very important example also, because again, one of the reasons why young people leave the church is because they don't feel like there's any place for the use of their gifts. So I feel like your bigger vision of stewardship, where you're really looking at all the arenas of life and how they can be ways of living out the mission of God, is also beautiful and worthy of celebration. And I would say to you, adelante. So go forward in the name and spirit of Jesus Christ. Thank you. Thanks for the privilege of being with you. And I actually have to leave a little early. I have another competing meeting, but I was very happy to be with you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Salvatierra. We're now going to turn to Reverend Ken Walden, pastor of Holman UMC in Los Angeles and a C2 fellow.
Thank you. Happy Black History Month, everyone. My name is Ken Walden. I am the senior pastor of Holman United Methodist Church, located in Los Angeles, California. And this has been a blessing to be a part of this Leadership Institute. It has been equally inspirational and informational, expanding my imagination and giving me time to reimagine, refocus, and re-strategize to be an increasingly competent religious leader in our community. And I've also learned from my brilliant colleagues represented here today. I want to share my screen and let you see a little bit of my project that I've been working on. And as you see here, you see a lot of beautiful faces representing Holman United Methodist Church, trying to live that abundant life that the president of Fuller Theological Seminary just mentioned. But unfortunately, many of you probably are aware that we've been having a lot of police brutality for communities of color. So in light of unarmed Black and brown people being murdered by police brutality and other vigilantes, the Holman United Methodist Church, CDC, we've decided to continue to increasingly create roads to physical and emotional wellness. And we invite all of you to pray for us, partner with us, and offer your time, your energy, and your financial resources. We currently have some program partners, and they include, but they are not limited to, the Foster Faith Families Network Initiative, where we focus on children from foster care programs, and we also have our Children, Youth, and Family Collaborative Initiative. Now, Our current program that we are imagining will specifically focus on the impacts of trauma on young people of color, also managing stress skills for young people of color, and third but not least, young people of color thriving in a midst of conflict. On your page 11 in your booklet, you will see my name and you will see that I'm currently asking for $100,000. And that $100,000 is divided up in 4 categories. But let me tell you, we totally feel that no amount is too small and no amount is too big, especially as it relates to the children of our future. Because Holman United Methodist Church, CDC, and you all probably know our pastor emeritus in the person of Reverend James Lawson, who's a chief architect of the civil rights movement. We want to continue to bring smiling faces that's in front of you for a brighter future. Thank you for your time.
Important words. Thank you so much, Reverend Walden. Our next C2 fellow is Reverend Brent Ross, the pastor at Normal Heights United in San Diego.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to have you all here, and I'm so thankful for this experience of being a part of the C2 Leadership Institute. In many ways, it's easy to imagine that our future is always a line stretching out in front of us, that if it's not interrupted in some way, if it's not disturbed, if it's not nudged in one direction or the other, it will just continue in that direction for months or years or for the rest of our lives. Sometimes, though, we are fortunate enough that that line gets nudged, its trajectory gets changed. Things then are possible, which were not possible before. The horizon looks different as we see it differently. In many ways, this C2 experience has been a change for me, much like that. It's been a change in what's possible, not only for me, but also for our Normal Heights Community Hub project that we have at the Normal Heights United Church. The Normal Heights Community Hub is a local nonprofit. We're committed to improving the quality of life in our neighborhood by connecting resources and needs within our community, from neighbor to neighbor, from community group to community group. We do this in the areas of food insecurity and housing, community life, and justice-focused education. Food insecurity is a major area for us. In San Diego County, 1 in every 8 people experiences food insecurity and does not know where their next meal is coming from. The number for children is 1 in 6. So we have a new partnership that we have begun through the C2 project, hosting a community fridge that's on site. It is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because food insecurity does not operate on a 9-to-5 schedule. We also have plans for an upcoming community dinner that will connect resources from social services, from food banks, with a large community event. With housing, we have helped to connect unhoused neighbors to permanent housing throughout the COVID experience, and also provided rental relief as well as sheltering more than 5 families now at this point at the church who are asylum seekers. We also connect to neighbors with neighbors in terms of relationships as we partner with the Adams Avenue Business Association and the Unified School District for large community events like Unplugged and others. And finally, together as a community, we invest in learning because we believe, as Maya Angelou said, if we know better, then we can do better. And so we have monthly seminars and book clubs that are open for the entire neighborhood and community. We'd always appreciate your help and your assistance in supporting other neighbors. And our contact information is here on the screen, and I'll also put my information in the chat below. And we'd welcome any opportunity to partner with all of you.
Thank you, Reverend Brent. And make sure to put your website address as well, maybe in the chat room, right? At this time, it's my honor to also introduce the California Secretary of the State Transportation Agency. David Kim is someone that I've known for a very long time. I think his name had even come up to be the federal Biden appointee, but we're very blessed that he will be able to stay with us. And so we'd like to now hear a message from our Secretary, David Kim.
Hi, everybody. My name is David S. Kim. I serve as Secretary of the California State Transportation Agency, And I just want to take a moment to congratulate each of you as you graduate from the C2 Leadership Institute. I've read your bios. I am so inspired by your backgrounds and the work you do day in and day out to connect people to faith, inspired by your ministries, giving a voice to the voiceless, and advocating for social justice. You are clearly in the business of transforming lives, and so are we at the California State Transportation Agency. In fact, our vision statement is to transform the lives of all Californians through a safe, accessible, low-carbon, 21st century, multimodal transportation system. I know that's a mouthful, but in a nutshell, we are all about transforming lives through a better transportation system. That is what we do. And just by way of background, the California State Transportation Agency is a large agency. We have 40,000 employees, a budget of over $20 billion, and it includes large departments like Caltrans, Department of Motor Vehicles, California High-Speed Rail Authority, California Highway Patrol, and numerous others. And it's an incredible honor and privilege to be a part of Governor Newsom's cabinet to lead in these extraordinary times. And so that's a little bit about who we are. Funny anecdote, if you Google the name David Kim or David S. Kim, and that's why I use my middle initial because it's one of the most ridiculously common names among Korean Americans. If you do a Google search, one of the first things that will pop up are pastors by the name of David Kim, even David S. Kim, and links to their YouTube videos of their sermons. So I am not that David Kim or numerous David Kims, but in any event, I also happen to be married into a family of Methodists, some of whom became pastors. My parents were actively involved in the Presbyterian Church USA. We grew up in a small Presbyterian congregation in Davis, California. My mom was especially involved in the PCUSA General Assembly, where she served as a delegate on numerous occasions and helped elect pastors to become moderator of the General Assembly. So that's a little bit of my background. Again, congratulations on completing the Institute. I know this training will equip you with additional tools as you continue in your ministry. I'm so grateful for their work you do on the front lines, and wish you all the best going forward. Thanks again, and God bless.
Thank you, Secretary David Kim. And as you can see, so many elected officials and public decision makers are really, again, their faith is important and influence, and they value, again, the participation of faith leaders in this space. At this time, I'd like to introduce our next C2 graduate, and that's Reverend Alex Powell, who pastors New Beginning UMC in San Bernardino.
Hi. C2 was something that I was excited about. In theory, I heard about it and I was excited to learn more. How do church leaders better connect with the community that they serve? I understood the basics. I have had some great mentors and pastor friends who have given me some good practices to engage so that I could be in the community, so that I could get to know folks. But I've never put in this kind of work. I had never built the capacity from the ground up. I had never created the building blocks that enhance my ability to lead a church and connect that church with the community. And C2 has been transformative in doing that, in helping me from step one of how to make the church available to partner with those in the community. And on that note, we are looking for partners for our community. We have some wonderful things going on at New Beginnings United Methodist Church in San Bernardino. We're really serving all of the Inland Empire. We have, let me come down here. Our community, our focus in San Bernardino, there is a huge housing crisis. We had a 23% jump in the homeless population in 2018, from 2018 to 2019, before the pandemic even hit. We have over 2,600 people without stable housing then, and that number has gotten a lot worse. So to help with that, we're working, our church is connected with Keys Nonprofit, And we're working to furnish families when they're able to move into sustainable housing with KEYS, which is connected with San Bernardino County. We furnish their homes. We provide anything that we can get our hands on for them. We have them come in and shop our selection. We have multiple rooms at our church that are just filled with supplies so that we can help families who are getting into housing. We want to make sure that they're successful, that they can remain successful, and that we can be a part of that. We're currently doing this work with volunteers, going all over Southern California to estate sales, trying to find more furnishings. We provide anything from kitchenware to desks and tables, but we're hoping to do so much more. And along with that, we have our clothes closet that has been giving out clothes every week at multiple locations. We gave over 7,500 articles of clothing in 2019 alone. And we're distributing over 75 boxes of food every single week in partnership with City Mission and our local food bank. So we're trying to be a part of the solution, but we could do so much more with your help and with partners who can come alongside us as we continue to serve and try to transform San Bernardino and the Inland Empire. We have 4 locations. We're a multi-site church, and so our reach is wide, but we're looking forward to doing more with your help. Thanks for your time.
It's my turn. At this time, I'd like to introduce our next C2 graduate, and that is Reverend Kurt Poland, who is the senior pastor at First German United Methodist Church located in Glendale.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like Hapen said, my name is the Reverend Kurt Poland, and I do pastor First German United Methodist Church. And the irony that Poland is in charge of the German church is not lost on me. When I started here with the C2 Fellowship, I had this incipient idea that in quarantine, I wanted to start a podcast. And I knew that I wanted to talk about major issues that are dividing our society today, but I was looking for some kind of a form. And so I wanted to take you through a little bit of my development process so you can see where I'm getting. And then I want to ask you if you'd like to actually come on the podcast and help us find our way forward together. So let's see if I can share the screen successfully here. All right. So the podcast is called the Broken Middle Podcast. And the goal is to start a new kind of local conversation. But there's a problem. There are too many podcasts, too many good podcasts. There's Homebrew Christianity, if you're into the theology side of Christian faith. There's the Bible for Normal People, if you're trying to figure out how you construe the authority of Scripture in your own life and if you're a leader in your church. There's the Bible Project, there's the Robcast, there's the Queer Theology Podcast. All of these are very, very good. Does there really need to be one more? I have been wrestling with this question. Do I want to distract from the good work that these other platforms are doing? Is there some kind of avenue that I could possibly do? And then I realized something that was absolutely unique about our church. These are the geographical coordinates of our church on planet Earth. There's no other place quite like it. I thought, what would happen if we used the internet, the World Wide Web, the broad dissemination of the podcasting format to try to start a conversation embedded in the area where the church is, a commuter distance, 10 miles. Why the broken middle? Well, I'm convinced that in our polarized society today, much of our conflict erupts because we just miss each other. People in the world of traditional faith don't understand the machinations and sometimes the secular humanism that has to characterize modern politics in a democratic society. And both of them oftentimes miss the deeper and vital voice of the arts, both to build up and to disrupt and to bring in new perspectives on our common conversation. The broken middle is an effort to undertake to bring all of these disparate groups, these disparate traditions, politics, traditional faith, and art together and to put them on the same civic map. Just a couple past conversation partners have been Josh Tillard Gates, the policy director for Enterprise Community Partners for Los Angeles, the Reverend Dr. Sharon Hargrave, who teaches marriage and family therapy and runs the Boone Center for the Family at Pepperdine University, and the Reverend Kirkpatrick Tyler, who walks the line between faith and politics as an African Methodist Episcopal preacher and the Director of Skid Row Outreach for Mayor Garcetti's office. So I want to invite you to take part in a new kind of conversation, to join the MAP with people that you never knew were your neighbors. Come introduce yourself. You can see where the podcast is hosted on our website. You can email me. And if you want to walk in the front entrance, there it is. And the coordinates there for Planet Earth. I look forward to talking to you. Let's have a better conversation in the broken middle.
All right. Thank you, Reverend Poland. Our next speaker is CIT's Consumer Banking President, Steve Sulk. He has helped make this C2 cohort possible through CIT's co-sponsorship of the program. Take it away, Steve.
Great, thank you. First of all, I'm really pleased to be here today, and thank you, Hapen, so much for inviting me. I'm honored, first of all, to be here on behalf of CIT and to be a sponsor of the C2 Leadership Program. But I didn't know what to expect this morning, right? I didn't know, what people were going to say. I didn't know, and understand the stories and the emotional connectivity, et cetera. I didn't have that view until now, and I thank you very much for leading this. Incredibly inspiring with so many pastors and what you've done so far. And every story is like a piece of a puzzle, right? And it's the puzzle of hope. And the puzzle gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it never ends, because we all know that we all need hope and we need to do so much more for our communities. And thank you all. I mean, again, very inspiring stories. And you've gained, and you've already have so much valuable skills, and you've gained a lot, I'm sure, from this program, and you've done a lot already, as I could tell, and listen to all of you in the communities, very unique skills. And those are the things you need to have to be able to reach out and to foster relationships and to really, strengthen the impact of faith community empowerment throughout Southern California, and, the fundraising and financial literacy, outreach, those are just a few items, of course, but they do mean a lot. And it is hard to be able to put all that collectively together and work together and make the difference, which you all are doing. It is really inspiring, and, and it's got to be lasting. We just talked about that. This is not an easy thing to do. Doing good for our communities is not a short-term goal, right? But it's a lifetime of work. And I believe that sincerely, that, and I not to be cliche, but the road to success is always under construction. And I believe that in my personal life. I believe that in my personal life and my professional life, et cetera. But your persistence, outreach, your inclusion, your humility, your passion, and will all help you and guide you down your respective paths in life. And again, the stories you've done so far, you're there, right? And you're on the road and you're doing so many great things. And CIT is proud to support FACE, and the C2 Leadership Program. And we look to continue to do that. And, I also want you to know that we at CIT, we need your help too, right? There's things that we could do collectively as organizations, not just grants, and that's important, and we do that, of course, but we also have 60 branches in Southern California. We have a thing called a community advocate team of managers and people in various branches that work with local communities to collectively do good in the community. And our people want to be part of it, right? Our employees want to have that connectivity, the community, connectivity to the individuals. And so please, after this, reach out to me and how we can connect the two organizations together. And so I'm wishing all of you the best of luck. I know you don't really need it because you're doing a great job so far, but again, congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. Next up is Reverend Sun Young Park, the pastor of Hope UMC of Torrance.
Hi, everybody. I am Reverend Sun Young Park, the lead pastor at Hope UMC Torrance.
I have a passion for a local church that reflects its demographics and makes a difference in the broader community's life where a local church is located. I wasn't sure if my calls and emails to the elected officials, school district, chamber of commerce, and neighborhood councils would be returned. But it was invigorating to get their return calls, emails the next couple of days. C2 changed my perceptions that the broader community was not interested in the church does, but they are. When I reached outside the church wall to serve the community, it sparked hope in each of us that was involved. In that light, my C2 leadership project is Spark Hope. Let me share the PowerPoint presentation. Spark Hope initiative is for racial healing, sharing hope with the homeless and foster students. In response to Black Lives Matter and anti-Asian sentiments, I started Anti-Racism Book Club. Also because of my memory of being the token Asian student at a predominantly white grad school in my 20s. Many years later, when I was in a setting that reminded me of the grad school where I was the only Asian, I had this sharp pain shooting through my head to toe. And we must not share the trauma of being alone and be the token of any race or culture. During my C2 training, through the partnership with Torrance Unified School District, I learned the sad fact that 1 out of 60 students in Torrance Unified School District is homeless or foster kid, disproportionate students of color. So as response to that need, the Hope congregation raised about $1,000 and donated winter items for these students. In addition, Hope Congregation love our community, and we assembled and distributed 100+ bags for the homeless and donated 60+ handmade winter items to the women and children in need via our partnership with the LA County of the Department of Children and Family Services. I invite you to join our virtual book club for racial healing, and we meet this coming Sunday at 4 p.m. You can also find us at the website address right there and then social media.
About that. Thank you so much, Reverend Park. Our next speaker is Reverend Mandy McDowell, who pastors Los Angeles First UMC located in downtown LA.
Good afternoon. My name is Mandy McDowell, and I'm the pastor of Los Angeles First United Methodist Church. As Christians, we learned that the 2 greatest commandments are these: love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. As a pastor, my work has historically centered on teaching congregations about God's love for each of them, all of us, and providing resources then to engage personal faith. But churches don't exist in isolation, and each church is located in a specific place, in a neighborhood, in a city, in a home, in a sanctuary. Place defines who attends worship, but we're not sent to minister to the people in our congregations. We're sent to care for people in a place. And one of the gifts of the C2 leadership cohort has been to engage the people who are outside of our place. Those colleagues here who I have learned so much from, yes, but also the institutions, organizations, politicians, and representatives who have said to us, we unify our desires with yours. We are all hoping to make this city a better place. My church is unique because it is houseless. And I will show you my PowerPoint to prove that. Los Angeles First United Methodist Church was founded in the 1850s. It has gone through a variety of shifts and changes, one of the most important of which was in its early inception when it moved from the bar called the El Dorado Saloon into its very first building that provided this small space for furnished rooms. Housing is in our DNA. As things grew and changed and shifted over time, the congregation was able to adapt, and adaptability is one of the most admirable characteristics of any organization or congregation. But what that also meant was adapting when things were not great. And now what we have, instead of this lovely office building, is this. This is our congregation today. And what started off as being our greatest weakness, which is that we had no building, has become our greatest strength because we have land. And we have what most churches have, which is one of the most valuable parcels of land in one of the most strategically placed sites in the city. We were able to move our worship services from a hidden away place into the outdoors. And here we have discovered an identity of becoming a houseless church, declaring solidarity with our houseless neighbors. Because we exist outdoors up until March of 2020, we were able to get a sense of what the neighborhood's needs truly were. So as we've been trying to figure out what the highest and best use of our land and our work can be, what we've discovered is that the data tells us land is a central, if not the central theme of biblical faith. So it's important for us to take our land seriously. And statistics have shown that downtown is rapidly growing in number, that people are either exceedingly wealthy or exceptionally poor, and that the racial and ethnic makeup is almost completely equal across these categories. What that means for us is that we have discovered that our solidarity with the houseless is the greatest need. As we interviewed people and asked around, what do you love about downtown? What is missing from downtown? What can we do with our site that can benefit all? What we kept hearing was affordable housing, affordable housing, affordable housing. Los Angeles County's homeless count now surpasses 66,000, and 7,617 of those individuals are in our city council district. So we have taken our prayers and our hopes, done a really intense visioning process, and come up with this idea that housing can in fact be a discipleship model. This is not necessarily to force people into our sanctuary, which we do in fact hope to build. It is the idea that if our job is to love God and love our neighbor, churches are equipped to teach people how to love their neighbor better than almost any other organization. Our hope is to build a multi-tiered market rate workforce and permanent supportive housing site that will also have space for the congregation for the church. We hope to have around 420 units of market rate housing, 150 units of affordable housing, and a sanctuary which can be used for community access and performance. In doing so, we hope that we can meet the greatest need in the community while also teaching people what it means to live as disciples. If you're interested in partnering with us, we would love to talk more about those opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Mandy. And now we will have some congratulatory remarks from Otto Solorzano, who serves as the director of the LA County's Department of Workforce Development, Aging, and Community Services. That's quite a mouthful, but he does have a lot of responsibilities and we're very grateful. So Otto, take it away.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure being here today. And I am touched to hear from many of you about the work you are doing. I'm reminded of my favorite Spanish writer. He used to say, "Traveler, there is no path. You make your own path as you walk." And what I see today is many of you graduating from this incredible seminar, this incredible conference that allows you, gives you the opportunity to learn more about what government does, what the church involvement can be with government. I'm the director of a county department of Workforce Development, Aging, and Community Services. All issues related to workforce come through our department, specifically looking at the industries that are growing in the county and the type of positions that may be available for individuals to get jobs. I also deal with issues related to seniors, aging. And I'll tell you some of the biggest issues related to aging, food insecurity, housing, transportation. And those are the areas in which we as government need to be absolutely involved We just talked about homelessness and the biggest issues, youth and the type of jobs that they need to get. So I'm extremely touched by the opportunity to be here and salute each one of you, congratulate each one of you. Someone said, the way you see is what you do, and what you do is what you get. That the outcomes in our lives are very much dependent on what we do. But what we do is very much dependent on how we see things. And I see, when I hear many of you, the changes in paradigms or the improvements in paradigms that are occurring specifically related to our faith. And so let me just say, yes, I work for the county. I'm also a man of faith. And I am superbly touched to hear pastors of our churches who are trying to see how they can make a change in society by being actively involved. When Jesus says, what you do to me or to the least of this, you are doing it to me. That's what we do. So congratulations to all of you. I'm so delighted to see what you are doing, and I look forward to perhaps partnering with you or working with you. Thank you, Hepin, for the invitation.
Thank you, Otto, and it's great to hear about your personal faith journey, but also I know that the LA County Supervisors recently approved to hire a consultant to look at faith organizations and how to work with faith leaders. So I hope and look forward to that next life with you, Otto, as well. Thank you again for your message.
My pleasure, absolutely.
At this time, I would like to introduce our next C2 graduate, and that is Dr. Mona Lisa Lolohea, who is the pastor for Trinity UMC in Pomona, but also heads up the youth funding as well as leadership.
Aloha, everyone, and good afternoon. Thank you, Hepin and Face, and my distinguished colleagues who continue to remind us Hepin's tagline is "Shine Your Light." But I wanted to create it a little bit differently. Viola Davis said it, I think last week. She said, "Shine your light without apology." And so I break that down in these words, which describe my experience and my time with C2 Institute. S for shine is serve. We've been called to serve God and serve people. H is being hopeful that the current leaders will continue to make the time to see, listen, and bridge connections with young people. I is for initiating relationships with these youth and young adult leaders of today, for they are the leaders of today and not just tomorrow. N is because it's necessary. We need mentors and partners to work together, to collaborate, to be influencers of God's word and God's people. And E is to engage. And that's the next part of my project this morning. Engaging how? My project to share with you today is the Nalu Makers. And Nalu Makers is, Nalu is defined as waves in Hawaiian or in many of the Polynesian or Pacific realm. Nalu, surging new ways for the next generation. Nalu is defined as wave and surf. And so as we've continued to shine our light, my project working as the Young People's Coordinator for the California Pacific Conference of the United Methodist Church, that was a mouthful, and as pastor, is an initiative for young people through the Young People's Council to have this funding initiative. It's bridging the gap between our conference to the districts and the local churches in which we serve, expanding out to the local communities, to schools, to organizations. It is an amazing place to be able to work with youth and young adults. And Nalu Makers would create waves, forging creative ways for ministry beyond the local church. These are helping leaders to engage through exciting ways, unique and authentic ways to express who they are as young people and to bridge the gap between the church, God, and community. Nalu Makers creates opportunities for young peoples to promote and participate in programs whose mission is to partner, especially with the community, to nurture their interests and talents, articulate their authentic ideas, and to provide active involvement, because we're not just sayers, but we're doers. So Nalu Makers are innovators, creative thinkers, planners, and organizers, and doers. Some of the funding initiatives that have been supported through the Young People's Council, which Nalu makers would be housed with, have been La Jolla UMC. As you can see, we've gone up to even large amounts of granting, 15,000 to some of the internship programs, because we believe that young people need advocates like you and me partnering up with our communities so that we can engage their leadership skills so that they may continue to grow. Oni Anyado said these words: serving my generation with excellence will in turn mean my generation can lead with excellence. And so Nalu Makers will continue to serve young people, both in the church, but especially through the community. And lastly, our asking is this: partner with us. Invest and contribute 10,000 today. Be a wave maker and pave the way for young leaders who are ready to slay. Your investment and our aloha, a mighty partnership. Don't delay. Thank you for your time. God bless you. And thank you to C2 Leadership and Hey Pen. Aloha.
Love it, Reverend Mona Lisa. Okay, and at this time now, I would like to invite Reverend Susanna Kim of Wilshire UMC.
Yes, hello, everybody. My name is Susanna Kim, and I am the Associate Pastor at the historic Wilshire United Methodist Church. And I like to thank Faith, Hey Pen, and Mia and Kevin for accepting my chronically late homework assignments. At least I was consistent. I like to thank Mia and James King at the conference office for their support and basically coming alongside this journey with us, and for Bishop Hagia for this opportunity. The C2 leadership confirmed what I believe was a God-given vision of intersecting church with community. My project is the WUMC Educational Initiative. Our mission is to provide educational resources, professional development, and lifelong learning opportunities to the church and community. The first phase is the Health Speaker Series of providing monthly health and wellness workshops on Zoom led by health professionals. We have speakers lined up. Until June, and will continue another cycle in the fall. A wonderful byproduct of our educational initiative are friends we are making and relationships we are building. This month in our Sunday worship, we will be honoring Dr. Corbett, the leading scientist for the Moderna vaccine, and Dr. McPherson, the medical director of cardiovascular and thoracic surgeons of Ventura County. In our second phase, we are looking to partner with West LA College to offer career preparatory and vocational training courses. In our third phase, we are looking to provide workshops in music, arts, and drama. And in our fourth phase, we'll utilize our indoor basketball court to offer athletic programs through coaching and enrichment programs. We hope to accomplish all these initiatives through community partners and with the creation of a CDC. I'd like to thank the Educational Initiative members, Theda Douglas, our chairperson, Gregory R. Miller, and Nancy Brashears. You can connect with our church and program by going to our website, wilshireumcmem.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Kim. We'd like to now invite Metro's CEO, Phil Washington, as our next speaker to give his congratulatory remarks. FACE appreciates his commitment and work with faith leaders for Metro.
Well, thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor to be here today to congratulate all of you on your graduation. And I want to thank Hypen, especially for inviting me to speak here today. As the third busiest transportation agency in the nation, Metro improves mobility and increases access to opportunity for all residents of LA County. Our public transportation system really provides a vital service to help people get to and from where they need to go. We are and have created thousands of jobs through our construction projects. We create real opportunities for small, minority, women-owned, and veteran-owned businesses. And every decision that we do or make, we want to first look through the lens of equity. So as someone who has grew up in the church on the south side of Chicago, I understand the important role of faith leaders play in our society. Since I've been here at Metro over the last 6 years, it's been very important for me to engage with our faith leaders in LA County, and we've done that. We want to hear their ideas on how we shape our program. So whether it's assisting the unhoused riders on our system, investing in the workforce of the future, or working to make transit fareless so people can save money and combat climate change, we have a vast range of programs and initiatives that need your input as faith leaders. I'm confident that the agency Metro will continue to build relationships with the faith community. Our board of directors and our senior leadership understand the value of listening and working with the faith community to enhance our programs so we may serve, connect, and empower those most in need in LA County. So thank you again, and congratulations on this great honor of your graduating from this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil. The next presentation will be from Reverend Victor Cyrus Franklin, who pastors Inglewood First UMC.
Greetings all. Again, my name is Victor Cyrus Franklin. I serve as the senior pastor of Inglewood First United Methodist Church. This C2 experience has been transformational for me in expanding my imagination for what is possible in ministry for a 115 years small membership, Black and multi-ethnic working class congregation in the heart of the city. Our congregation, our local church, is based a half mile from the SoFi Stadium, the Forum, and the new LA Philharmonic Youth Orchestra site. And so in the midst of all this development and all this gentrification, the question for our community has been, where is the love? Where is the love for the residents? Where is the love for the people? I'm from Tennessee, and in Memphis, some of us know Bobby Blue Bland, who had a song called Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. Jay-Z sampled it. And so this C2 experience helped me to see that there is love in the heart of the city through reinvestment. Learning about the Community Reinvestment Act, the CRA, and the ways that banks have a corporate responsibility to reinvest in low-income communities and marginalized communities. Learning about ways, we've been on an affordable housing journey, and learning about ways through tax credits we can build community benefit space to run programs to support residents and neighbors. Again, those were lightning bolt revelations for me and from us and my congregation. And so FACE has helped us to sharpen our project so that we can do a better job of serving the community that we are in. It's not just a pipe dream, but a concrete hope in fulfillment of our mission to love God, love ourselves, and love our neighbors. And so this is part of a journey that we've been on. We've been a part of LA Voice in Pico, California, cultivating a state of belonging. This is me in Sacramento. Praise God for all the state representatives and local government representatives who are on. With the statewide delegation, interfaith delegation, really pushing and advocating for schools and communities first. So I was there on behalf of our congregation as we were engaged in the rent control, rent stabilization efforts in Inglewood and in statewide. And so this work is a continuation of that work. In the 90301, that's our zip code. There's been a 31% increase in rents since 2011. It's placed tremendous burden on residents and even members of our congregation. And so our project vision is to build 50 plus units of affordable housing on site on the church premises, but also to create community benefit space for workforce development, youth mentoring, preschool music education, senior and low income family support services, as well as food distribution. These are the community partners we've worked with. Again, interfaith organizations, community-based organizing organizations, mentoring organizations, LA Philharmonic, just so many organizations that we've been working with to help do this work, who've been partnering with us. And so we'd like to ask all of you to join in this effort to partner with us as well. Two of the upcoming initiatives tied to the community benefit as we're building our Community Development Corporation is one, students from Cal State Long Beach reached out to us, the School of Social Work. And so we're cultivating with them a plan to support mental health and destigmatize mental health amongst communities of color in Inglewood and beyond. And so we actually have a meeting next week to finalize that, to roll it through the season of Lent for us, for those good liturgical folks. And then two, LA Philharmonic, we're working with them and University of Southern California to recruit for a music and brain development study with young people, seeing the importance of music education as another language to help grow. So again, we're working with our community to expand help and resources, housing as a cornerstone, but really to do transformative work in loving God, loving ourselves, and loving our neighbors. So again, to learn more about what we're doing, our handle is Inglewood First, social media. Also, our website is inglewoodfirst.org. And so we look forward to any who want to join us and partner with us as we can continue to build a home of hope and healing in the heart of Inglewood. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Reverend Cyrus Franklin. Next, we have Pastor VJ Cruz Baez, who pastors La Plaza UMC in Los Angeles.
Thank you. When I received the invitation from the Episcopal Office and the Cabinet to participate in C2, everything was fine until I read, connect with elected officials. I was like, oh God. Well, during the whole process, my mantra has been rise up, show up, and shine. And have been pushing me and helping me and guiding me during this process. Today, Treasurer Fiona Ma come to confirm, and I felt her words as a call to the altar. We need to be out there. Hello, I'm VJ Cruz, pastor of La Plaza United Methodist Church in downtown Los Angeles. And we would like to share, if possible, a presentation with you. Our project is called God is in the Graffiti. God is in the Graffiti seeks to promote the development of urban underserved young people. But the graffiti, as some topics in our society, is considered by many as something bad. Those graffiteros, say some people, come to threaten our sense of security, and that is not supposed to happen. Using art as an instrument to address issues affecting local communities and the world, God is in the Graffiti facilitates and promotes change. With the involvement of professionals from diverse fields, we become bridge builders through which the expression of the different voices and experiences become to be and coexist. Beyond the vital conversations, we offer outdoor living art sessions during which artists and public interact. Also, some of the art has been curated into a traveling exhibit. Yes, a traveling exhibit, ready to be displayed wherever is requested. Supported in the past by volunteers from our faith community, funding and advisors from the General Commission on Religion and Race, we are now inspired by this C2 cohort, teaming with leaders from the community to create a 501c3. This will put in place a structure which dynamically plan, resource, and reinvest in young people and underserved, marginalized communities. In the past, being in contact with over 1,000 people, now we are looking forward to new developments, one of which is our first fundraiser event, which will tentatively be happening in December 2021. It will be a silent auction in which we will promote the artwork created on previous events. We count on more than 15 beautiful and meaningful art pieces to be displayed for public appreciation and contribution. I certainly look forward to seeing you there. Stay tuned, connect with us. Let us know how we could serve you and your community. Thank you.
Thank you. As I said, VJ for LA County Supervisor. Thank you, VJ, Pastor VJ. And at this time, it's my honor to introduce our next speaker, Maurice Lyles from the Governor Newsom's office to say his words, a congratulatory message. He serves as the governor's Deputy Regional Director and Faith Liaison. Maurice.
Thank you for that, Hey Pin. Really appreciate it. The introduction. On behalf of the Governor Gavin Newsom, I wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate all the graduates from the Faith and Community Empowerment C2 Leadership Institute. And I also want to acknowledge and applaud Hey Pin and FACE for their unwavering commitment to building community power through faith, and this diverse group of graduates is a testament to what community leadership and power looks like. It was the backbone of the churches and faith leaders that gave the strength and resources that spawned the civil rights movement. It was through faith that led to the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voters' Rights Act of 1964 and 1965 that eliminated the poll tax and guaranteed the right to vote under the 15th Amendment of the United States. It was the power of the faith community that shaped and changed this country into what it is now and pushes this country to hold its promise of inclusion, equality, and justice today. Working in government has taught me several lessons. But a foundational one is government cannot do it alone. It is the strength of strategic public-private partnerships, especially with the faith community, that turns these ideas into policies and laws and identifies how we allocate resources. You know, I'm just trying to keep it real. I just want to keep real. Is everybody good with that? You know, my father's Black. My mother is an immigrant from the Philippines. I grew up in a low-income Black community, attended church, and participated in conversations in communities of colors. You know, and I have to acknowledge that groups like the LGBTQ community that have been historically marginalized, and Black, Indigenous, API, Latinx, and other communities of color have and experience some cynicism and distrust of government. This is largely due to the historical and systemic racism and marginalization. And through this distrust, mistrust, or misinformation has contaminated our social discourse and has created fear. A fear to access healthcare, a fear of the undocumented immigrant or mixed status household to get tested because of having to provide their address. A fear in the Black community of taking a vaccine due to the historical trauma of the Tuskegee experiment and medical redlining. These cultural fears are real in our communities. The power that lies in a church and with faith leaders to rally congregants, families, and neighbors to share the word and speak the truth resonates with the community in a way that government can't do. You are trusted messengers. You are the pastors and faith leaders, and you have the honor and the privilege of being that person who is reached out to for advice and comfort. You are there with individuals, families, and communities during their most difficult times. Faith gives them power when they think they have none, and you give them truth to turn their fears into strength. We've counted on faith leaders to assist us in the state in drafting our multi-faith COVID-19 guidance for places of worship. We were successful when we partnered with Faith to pass the nation's strongest police brutality bills into law as a response to last summer's national reckoning on racial justice in the wake of George Floyd's death. I'm inspired by our shared goals of housing the unsheltered and supporting the health and well-being of our most disadvantaged communities. As pastors and faith leaders, our hand is extended to you. Be the voice to lift up the concerns of the community and to have the uncomfortable conversations with us in government about the social, environmental, and racial justice issues. Be a trusted messenger. Speak truth to power. We are both government and faith leaders working to secure the well-being of our communities. We might not always agree on policy, but in conversation, we can find shared goals and shared strategies. We will always achieve more together. It is your leadership that provides healing from the past, action in the present, and hope for the future. I look forward to hearing more about your work as you move forward. Congratulations, thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Maurice, and we take that invitation as well. So we will see you soon. Thank you so much. At this time, I'd like to introduce our final two C2 graduates. It is Reverend Pastor Bailey Bronner, who is the pastor of Mission Hills UMC in San Diego.
Hi, y'all. My name is Bailey Bronner, and I am a queer person of faith, and I'm also the senior pastor of Mission Hills United Methodist Church in San Diego. I also am a digital creator with 60,000 followers on various social media platforms where I do education and advocacy for the LGBTQIA+ community. The C2 Leadership Fellowship has allowed me to take risks and to gain new tools and to shine my light in ways that are vital for the church to survive and thrive as well. I want to share with you a little bit about the project that I have been working on, which is called The Voyage, and it is an LGBTQIA+ networking group. The Voyage is a digital and in-person group that works to accompany queer people of faith across the world on their journeys surrounding gender, faith, and sexuality. We meet twice a month on Zoom to cover topics ranging from spiritual practices to politics to maintaining healthy relationships with toxic people in their family. We also hold outside programs like politics to maintaining healthy relationships with toxic people in their family.
Join the meeting.
Some of our leaders, in addition to myself, are Angel and Nicole Morris. They are a queer couple who have their own nonprofit where they do outdoor leadership mixed with spirituality. One of the quotes that I've loved, a testimony from one of our Voyage members, Laura, she says, "I feel a sense of belonging because I know my queerness is celebrated and unconditionally affirmed here. The Voyage is a gift." So some goals for us, where we're headed, we're going to continue to host our digital meetups every other week, especially this pandemic. It's been life-saving for some of our members. Also in March, we're hosting a digital retreat for LGBTQIA+ young adults across the world. And so what you can do to help make this possible for us, if you will agree to be one of our vital partners by funding the Voyage, we need folks to fund our scholarships. It's $30 each for this upcoming retreat. So if you can fund 1, 2, 10, all 100 scholarships, that is our goal. And that is my ask for you today. So here's all of the contact information. You can get a hold of me wherever you can find my name. I am there. And I thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Bailey. Now, our next C2 graduate, last but not least, is Reverend Brian Belting, who serves as the pastor of Kailua UMC in beautiful Kailua, Hawaii.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And this has just been such a great experience. I'm Brian Belting, pastor at Kailua United Methodist Church, and we're on the windward side of Oahu. Before coming to Hawaii, I was pastor in North Carolina, and one of my roles was to connect to the community and help facilitate community organizing and help that church grow in its connection. But one of the things I realized is I didn't have the skills and resources to really do what the church had wanted me to do. This class or this training has given us the opportunity to get resources and the skills that we have to empower us to dream big. And that's exactly what we're doing and starting the process at Kailua United Methodist Church is starting to dream big with a piece of our property. We are located overlooking the Kauai Nui Marsh, which has a historic meaning for both Native Hawaiians and all the people of Hawaii. And we have a beautiful campus with about 4 acres of land. We've been in the community for almost 100 years now serving, and we're looking to redevelop a portion of our property that's been used as an outreach center. It's about 1.5 acres, about 2,000 square foot building that is relatively underutilized. Our key partner is going to be the nonprofit that manages a heiau, which is a Hawaiian religious cultural site next door to us. And so we have both parking and bathrooms, and this community partner sees about 5,000 people that come to their location throughout the course of the year to help connect people to land, which is one of the themes for what we plan to do is how do we do sustainable work in our community and help bring the community together. And so we have a lot of dreams about what we can use this space for, from outdoor events to composting sites, to having a place for people to gather for recreation and activities. Really, we have a lot of opportunity with what we do, and we're seeking partners to dream with us about what we could do. We have our church Facebook page and social media, as well as our website. And yeah, we're asking people to join us, dream with us, and to serve with us as we go on to this new chapter for our church and our community. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Reverend Belting. At this time, we would like to officiate the graduation of the 2021 C2 Leadership Institute Fellows with a presentation of the graduates.
Victor Cyrus Franklin. I'm the pastor of the First United Methodist Church in Inglewood.
Susanna Kim, I'm a pastor at Wilshire United Methodist Church.
Bailey Bronner, I am the senior pastor at Mission Hills United Methodist Church.
I'm Lisa Williams, the pastor at the St. Peter United Methodist Church.
I'm VJ Cruz, I'm the pastor at La Plaza United Methodist Church.
Kurt Poland, and I'm the pastor of First German United Methodist Church.
It's Reverend Gary Bernard Williams. I'm the pastor of the St. Mark United Methodist Church.
Alex Powell, I'm at New Beginnings United Methodist Church.
Mandy McDowell, and I'm the senior minister at Los Angeles Angeles First United Methodist Church.
John Wang. I am the senior pastor of Cornerstone United Methodist Church.
Mona Lisa Lalohea. I serve as the conference coordinator for the Young People's Council. I also serve as pastor, one of two pastors at the Trinity United Methodist Church in Pomona.
Sanyong Park, the lead pastor of Hope UMC in Torrance.
And I'm the pastor at Normal Heights United Church in the neighborhood of Normal Heights.
My name is Ken Walden. I'm the senior pastor of Holman United Methodist Church.
Wonsak Ya, currently serving as a senior pastor at Parish United Methodist Church.
Brian Beltane, lead pastor at Kailua United Methodist Church.
And so with that, we present our 2021 C2 Leadership Institute graduates. If all our fellows can hold up your plaque, and in the virtual environment, some FedEx packages got lost, but if you could do so, and for those who do not have it, if you could just raise your hand so we know that you are the graduates, and we will take a photo. And once, if you could put your, yes, just a little bit, and then, yes, Kurt, yes, everyone's there, and everyone smile. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, you guys, congratulations. And I am going to ask, as voted by our fellows, for Pastor Mandy McDowell, Reverend Mandy McDowell, to do the closing prayer. But before we do that, I just want to say again, congratulations to each of you. It wasn't easy. I know the midnight calls or whatever, all those things was not easy. But again, thank you so much. I also want to thank our sponsors, Bishop Hagia and the CalPAC UMC Conference, Steve Salk with CIT Bank, just because, again, without your support, bringing it into reality would not have been possible, as well as OKF, again, for your support. I want to also thank our team members from the CalPAC, Mia Kim and James Kang. Again, they were burning the midnight oil. And also my staff, Mirabelle and Kevin have been there, again, doing some heavy lifting behind the scene. And finally, our board members as well. And last but not least, our lovely MC, Veronica Miracle from ABC. Again, a big thank you. And thank you to each of you for coming together to celebrate with us. And with that, I'm going to ask Pastor Mandy, Reverend Mandy, to do the prayer, and then for Veronica to close us out.
Friends, wherever you are, wherever you may be, I invite you to pray with me. Almighty, gracious, and loving God, you are more than we can imagine. And yet in this morning, in this moment, we understand that we share a small part of how we can be co-creators with you for good in this world. Help us and strengthen us. Give us the courage we need to speak out against injustice, the thoughtfulness we need to care for one another with compassion, and the ability to do it together in Christian love and faith, so that not only we, but all may come to know your love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Right. Thank you all so much for joining us for this celebration. A huge congratulations once again to the 2021 C2 Leadership Institute graduates. We hope you have a fantastic day and hope you were inspired by many of the speeches today. And definitely, as a member of ABC 7, just want to say thank you for all that you do for your respective communities. It makes such a huge difference. I'm Veronica Miracle with ABC 7. Thank you guys and have a lovely afternoon.